are 3 different ways to use your Pod Go with an amp. Number 1, run it directly in front of your amp and use it as a traditional pedal board. Just make sure to deactivate the amp and cab within the Pod Go, because that would sound really bad to have 2 amps running into each other. Number 2 is the 4 cable method. Let me show you how to hook it up and then I'll tell you why we would do this. First cable goes from your guitar to the guitar in on the Pod Go. The second cable goes from the send of the effects loop on the Pod Go into the input of your amp. And since we're going into an amp, make sure you're sending at instrument level. The third cable is going to go from the send of the amp back to the return of the Pod Go. And the fourth cable will be the main output of the Pod Go going into the return of the amp. Now, why would we want to do this? What this does is it puts your wet effects into the effects loop of the amp, which bypasses the preamp section of your amp and just sends it through the power amp section. This is especially important for high gain tones, very saturated tones. If you were to just run like delays and reverbs into the preamp section that's highly saturated, it can create some unwanted sounds perhaps. I mean, it's all subjective, but to retain the clarity of your delay repeats and your reverbs, you skip that highly saturated preamp section and just put it through the power amp, and it sounds really good. A third way you can use your Pod Go with an amp is to use your amp more as a monitor for yourself, while also sending front of house a amp and cab simulated tone. For this, you're going to want to do a couple things in the global settings and on your signal path. Instead of choosing the amp model, choose the preamp model of your amp, then go to global settings and select your amp out source to be pre-cab IR. What this is gonna do, it's gonna tap off your signal chain right before the cab or the IR so that you can send that into the return of your amp. That way you're using the preamp section of the Pod Go with the power amp section of your amp to have some good on-stage amp tones, while also sending the main outs to front of house for them to mix. To hook this up, you're gonna take your guitar into the guitar in of the Pod Go. Use 1 or 2 cables, whether you're using stereo or mono, main out to front of house, and then go amp out into the return of your amp. And that's it. Like and subscribe, check out the presets, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.